private label products don't always fail because of a bad niche or because you didn't run enough ads. It's because the seller didn't understand how much of a factor quality plays in their product. And I've seen countless times in my career as a quality assurance engineer. And today I'm going to share you 6 key attributes of products that stand the test of time. Before I go through all 6, I want you to keep track of how many of these you're currently skipping, because by the end of this video, I think that number is going to surprise you. So let's start with attribute number 1. And this one catches most sellers off guard because the customer misunderstands the product. That's not the customer's fault. That's your fault. The customer, and I've talked about this in some other videos, so I won't harp on this part too much, where you think about sound. You think about a quiet product. The customer understands, oh, this is going to be quiet. I'm not going to hear it at all. But when you mention quiet, you mention it's quieter than the other ones on the market, or quieter than a jet airplane, whatever it is. You can vet that yourself, but if the customer has a gap in their knowledge between where they think the product should perform and where it actually performs, they'll let you know about it. And I use pencils as an example, so I'm going to use that real quick. If you have a pencil and you market it as a one-time use pencil and somebody buys it thinking, hey, I could write an essay with it. Write an essay, poof, pencil's magically gone. They're going to be happy. They're going to be like, great, this is exactly what I wanted, exactly what I expected. If you say one-time use pencil, they think they're going to be able to write an essay and they write a single letter and then poof, it's gone. They're going to be super disappointed and they're immediately going to go to the reviews for this. That's something that you need to watch out for and make sure your customer understands the product. And I'll be really direct on number 2 because your product will have quality issues. So, long-lasting products on this capture failure modes during the concept phase. So if you say that you have a pencil, you need to list out all of the potential ways that product will fail, whether that's on the line, in the market, wherever, in the customer's hands. You need to outline all the potential failure modes. And then, like I mentioned, your product will have quality issues. When they do, capture that on that list again. Make sure that you know when you make your next iteration of pencil that that product and that issue won't happen again. And that's how you create a well-oiled machine for your product. And number 3 really is well led into for this too, because innovation is what adds more risk to your product. Because if you think about number 2 and kind of you want to keep it simple, you want to record all of your previous issues. If you add innovation where your pencil now has a V eraser at the end, it prongs off into 2 spots and you have 2 erasers instead. That's new tooling, new molds, new inspection processes. If you're thinking about how the pencil is painted, even coated at the end, it's rolled and then it's sprayed or it's dipped, whatever it is, you might have to change that process with a V approach with those 2 erasers. So you might think this innovation is great. It'll allow you to erase twice as much and it'll be easier storage somehow. Whatever it is, you need to make sure that it's a small process, it's a small gap, and it's not large innovation. If you want to erase twice as much, try just changing the pencil eraser material. And if you can do that, you'll be able to slowly improve your product. That way you're not taking on as much risk with the factory with a whole bunch of new areas that your product could go wrong. All right, attribute number 4. This is about separating your product from a 2-star product to a 4-star product, all done because you want to make the life of your customer easier. And if you don't do this, your product will drop to that 2 stars. And there are 3 key areas you could potentially think about this. So storage is one. setup is another, and maintenance is the third. And if customers misunderstand or they have a tough time with either setup, storage, or maintenance, think about setting up a desk, right? A workbench of some kind. If you have to use 4 different types of screws and they're all different sizes and maybe some of them didn't come with it, then you're leading to a poor customer experience. If storage, if it's a portable desk, but you need to take out all of those screws each time you do it, customer's going to have a poor experience. If maintenance of it, if you want to clean your desk and you're using a Lysol wipe or you're just using water, and as soon as you put it on, all the paint wears off. If the customers are having a poor or difficult time with this, then that's going to lead to poor reviews because customers are going to go straight to your page and they're going to type out all of the issues that they're having. So if you could plan for those 3 areas and make sure that your customers are satisfied in those areas, you will help iron out a lot of potential kinks with those 3 areas. And here's something that most sellers don't plan for, because customers are going to use your product in ways you never imagined. And some of them are going to try to break it, whether intentionally or unintentionally. It's going to happen. And if you haven't planned for that, you'll pay for it in returns and reviews. Customers are brutal stress testers. They're going to take your product, they're going to drop it, they're going to throw it on the ground, they're going to be having their kid in one hand, and as they're taking all the pencils out of the car, they're going to drop them, and then another car is going to run them over or something. Things are going to happen. And you don't have to necessarily plan for all your pencils to be run over by cars, but as if they could survive that drop and all the erasers don't crack or the lead doesn't break in the middle of it, which causes it to not be able to sharpen, then you will be able to survive a lot of these poor reviews. And this ropes back into number 2 and all those potential failure modes. Have you thought about how, sure, the customer is going to use it, how the factories are going to make it, but have you thought about how the customers are going to misuse your products too? Are they going to write really difficult with the pencil, really hard with it? Is that going to break the lead every time? How can you think about these beforehand so you can get ahead of these issues? And the last rule, and honestly, this one can be the most dangerous because it's invisible. Your factory is optimizing for one thing, that is passing inspection. So if you're making a product and your standards aren't documented, your factory will define them for you. And trust me, their version of standards is not the one that you want. It'll lead to cheaper material use. It'll lead to corners being cut. And when corners are cut and that gets to the customer gets the product where those corners are cut, has that cheaper material, that affects you and your brand. You want to make sure that these standards are already in place, they're documented, they're shared with the factory, so they know your expectations of the product and your expectations of what the customer will be getting. And if you want templates for that, just let me know. I can add them into my school community. And if you want to learn more about how I break down individual products, check out these other 2 videos. I'll link them right here. These I break down the way a QA engineer really does.